Okay, hello. Oh no, more 4-9 references, and we're looking at Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Okay, this is the scene. Oh, we've talked about this scene a couple of times, but this is the scene where John Connor's on his little motorbike here, trying to get away from the what will soon be the T1000 in this rig here. Um, and closely followed by Arnie on the motorbike, okay, on the Harley or whatever the hell he's riding. So, you'll probably all be familiar with the scene that transpires later on as we move through this, is where this truck hits into the bridge with 911 on it. Right, okay, we've got the wrecker truck. Okay, I was just showed you in the last film we were dealing with the Humvee, all in black, and now we've got this wrecker truck here, all in black. Yeah, the wrecker truck, the thing that wrecks everything. Okay, chasing after poor old JC here, John Connor, Jesus Christ, on his red and white motorcycle. Okay, the Blood Moon reference here, George reference. Interesting stuff. We're going to take a look at this first number plate. Okay, this first number plate here. In fact, this is not really the first number plate, but we're going to look at this one, and we're going to look at the truck as well. Okay, 216 VRI. Okay, let's look at that in the Gematrinator. 216 VRI. Okay, already it's looking pretty interesting. We've got this 248, a reference to Pluto. Okay, 248 years cycle for Pluto. Okay, orbital cycle period. And then we also have 239 here. Okay, the 23rd of September is the twin date for 49 that is coming up, the 9th of April. Okay, if we look at the number plate split into numbers and letters, the 216 here, 666 obviously, 6 cubed is 216, 666 reference, and again VRI is 49. Okay, so all in all, pretty darn interesting with that first number plate. A couple of other things to think about with that as well is, well, I haven't done the video yet. I need to do a video, and I will talk to you about the 666, okay, because there's an interesting connection with 49 and 666. Maybe I should just talk about it right now, okay? And when I get a minute, I'll put the video up. But basically, I've been doing some I don't know, I've just played around with the numbers of pi and the numbers of phi, the golden ratio. So this connection with pi and 5, which is two transcendental numbers that we see quite a bit, yeah, in our daily lives. Okay, whether you notice it or not, but it's there, right? So I've been doing some stuff with those two numbers, right? And what I've discovered is that 49 and 666 are connected with those two sets of numbers. Okay, when I get a minute, I'll do the video and show you why and why that's interesting. But again, the connection to gold, okay, you know, like the briefcase that Vincent Vega carries with the gold, something gold inside it, and it's 666 to open the briefcase, which ties back to our, I mean, I was just talking about Spandau Ballet gold. Okay, he has the briefcase as well with something gold in it. Okay, so the 666, the gold connection, which again, the 49 ties us with the Golden State. Yeah, it ties us back to the Golden Gate Bridge with the 49ers. Okay, and the whole connection with gold and 49 is this connection back to the gold rush, the thing that got everybody over to the west coast, if you like. Everybody was following this idea of getting rich quick and finding gold. Okay, they were after the the gold to make the gold bricks, yeah, to pave the yellow brick road, as Journeyman pointed out to me the other day in a comment. This idea of the yellow bricks, the gold bricks, the yellow brick road, and again, that road, the 101, that goes across the Golden Gate Bridge, follows the coastline. Yeah, what is the coastline? It's the yellow brick road. The Golden Sands takes you up to Seattle. Okay, the Emerald City, right? Where JL talks about the Space Needle. Okay, all this stuff's connected, but you know, the biggest for me, this whole thing with the gold right now and the connection to the 49ers is very interesting indeed. Yeah, everybody's heard of the San Francisco 49ers, you know, and that name comes from the gold rush, essentially. Yeah, so this connection with gold and the 49ers, the connection, you know, all these gold references, could it be a reference to the number 49? Yeah, this 49 that's coming up. And it might not be this particular date, but it might be in a few years' time, because there's a lot of interesting stuff with the 49 that falls on Labor Day, for instance. So I don't know if we're necessarily on this particular date, but there was a lot of stuff lining up for it. But you know, but anyway, 49. So we're dealing with that number plate there, right? Let's look at. Still got stuff from previous video in here. Let's look at this wrecker truck now, because we want to try and get that number plate. I'm just gonna have to skip on. Of course it wants me to. Let's play on it. We don't want to be at. So he's going to chuck this guy out. In fact, what's interesting is, if anybody knows what this ball cap is, I'd be interested to know, because I've looked for it before to try and find out what it is. Back it up, come on. Look at this guy's cap, right, with that B on there, the orange with the blue. Obviously you could pick several numbers out of that, 13A, yada yada yada. You get a bunch of numbers out of there, but that same cap shows up in I want to say it shows up in Falling Down, when they have the Twin Towers scene, which is also, there's also a Hoover Dam reference in there as well. So I don't think I've ever done a video on that one though, but it's in there. That same cap shows up. There's connection there. I don't know what it is. Anyway, let's crack through and see if we can pick up what I want to show you. Hang on a minute. I don't know if we can get it here actually. Anyway, this chase ends up going into the Los Angeles River. You know, that concrete thingamajig that we've talked about before, and thank you again, Journeyman. He points that out to me. Anyway, John Connor's running down into the river here. Okay, so we have these elements of concrete and water, which is, you know, obviously a nice connection back to the Hoover Dam. But I'm gonna actually go to the Hoover Dam to film everything you want to film. This is where the truck's going to come over the bridge. Again, note that it's a freight liner. Okay, note that we had the Colne FC Freightliner thing at the Hoover Dam. Yeah, that big event was, at least part of it was sponsored by Freightliner. Okay, about releasing, you know, their new Freightliner they had coming out. Okay, so the Freightliner is pretty important, and don't forget that what happened on 326 last year with a bridge also involved a different kind of Freightliner, but it was a Freightliner. It was a freighter. Okay, just as the Millennium Falcon is a freighter ship, you know. But that's what happened last year with the Key Bridge. Was a Freightliner essentially crashed and demolished the bridge, didn't it? And here we've got another Freightliner coming over the bridge, just like in Tank Girl we've got a big semi truck. I'd assume it's probably maybe a Freightliner that comes over the bridge. Okay. And again, in Back to the Future, the train that comes over the cliff is essentially again another freighter. It's a thing that moves freight, a Freightliner. Okay. Notice the street plumber. And the Freightliner comes over the bridge, smashes through the dam here, over the bridge. Okay. There's several things that we can actually. There was some gematria that was on the side of here that we could do. If you want to look it up yourself, it's Road Ranger, I think, towing. Okay. Emphasis on two big R's here. 24-hour towing, the 24th hour. Yeah. Okay. Not too much to show there, but this thing's coming for him, and if we could just get to this blooming number plate. Okay, you can just about see it here actually. I don't have the whole thing. I think it's 1E49958. Okay, that is the number plate on the truck. The 49 is right in the middle of this thing, and also the 99 is in the middle of this number plate. Why is that important? Because the Hoover Dam will be 32699 days old on 49. Okay, 99. Right now, the Hoover Dam numbers, the N2 digits of the Hoover Dam numbers right now are synchronized with the day of the year, if you like. So if it's the 10th day of the year, then the last two number jump days on the Hoover Dam's big number from its birthday back on the 30th September 1935 through is 32,010 days or whatever. So wherever we're at, we're on the day of the year on the last two digits of the Hoover Dam, which is kind of interesting. We have this synchronicity, this synchronization of the Hoover Dam's birthday number up to I don't know what to say really, just synchronizing with the days of the year this year. If you've been watching my videos, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, that's what I wanted to show. Okay, the Freightliner. Arnie's going to come down now and basically save him. Was there anything else in here that I wanted to show? No, I just wanted to show those two sets of 49s in here. Okay. I have to say that, you know, the whole thing with Judgment Day and just the film in general, you know, the references, like this dude is like Quicksilver, like Mercury, yeah, 88, atomic number 80 maybe, Mercury. So this is another interesting reference with 321 again, or 213, which is the 80th day of the year. I don't know what to say really. There's just so many little connections. And then of course, moving along through this scene, there goes the blood moon underneath that, underneath the truck, and here's the 9/11 reference that I was just talking about earlier. Okay, but most of you probably be very familiar with, and the truck blows up then. Yeah, boom. Okay. But what we're talking about is we're talking about an event here with the Hoover Dam that is going to have a lot of the same numbers associated with 9/11, the end and the beginning. In a way, you see, 9/11 was a huge awakening for a lot of people as well, you know. So anyway, there he is, Mr. Silver. The Silver State as well is Nevada. What else I want to say? That was it really. I mean, we could look at the numbers on Terminator 2. Obviously, James Cameron, JC again, directed and written by. Also note that James Cameron was married to Linda Hamilton, which is the mother of John Connor in the film. Yeah, she has the goddess. Let's just call it the feminine birthday tie-in with the 9/26. Okay, the 26th of September, and then also in the film, what was another thing to remember as well is the guy that basically creates or has a hand in creating Skynet, or is connected to Skynet, is the engineer Miles Dyson. Okay, Dyson. Okay, they had to pick something with a vacuum cleaner reference. Dyson. Okay, interesting. Dyson, the two sons, or whatever, how you want to break that down. But there's also the vacuum cleaner reference there with the Dyson vacuum. Okay, so back to the Hoover. Quite a nice, another nice little thing. Was there anything else I wanted to mention? I think what I want to say is I think somebody had an interest in Sarah's friend. Who was this? 28. No, all of these birthdays in here are actually quite interesting birthdays. 24th, 824 there, they're all fairly interesting birthdays. Bust through. Oh yeah, October 18th, Jean-Claude Van Damme's on that day as well. This dude who's the psych doctor, 88. Linda Hamilton, Arnie. We're gonna go to Arnie. July the 30th, 77 this year. That's interesting, isn't it? July, so 37 and 77. Okay. I think we're going to leave it there. I just really want to show another 4.9 reference in Terminator 2 Judgment Day. That, the 666 thing is, when I get around to doing it, I'll show you the connection with pi, phi, and the 666 and 4.9 and 75, 57. I'll show all those connections. Quite interesting. Alright, thanks for watching. Catch you on another one soon. Alright, cheers. Bye.